What's up, Tiger Rock Nation? Some of you guys may know me, some of you guys may not, so I'm going to give you a quick little introduction of myself before we get started. My name is Eli Desper. I'm a 4th degree level 1 black belt. I'm from Brandon, Mississippi, Master Deers Academy. Now, in terms of competition, I've been to the All-Star Finale 4 different times, and I've won it 2 different times, once in form and once in sparring. In terms of the Art Monroe competition, I've competed in that for the past 2 years, and I made it to the second round both times. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I got a couple tips to win for you guys for your forms and your sparring at the upcoming national tournament today. So now we're going to go ahead and get started in form. I got 2 quick tips for you guys. Number 1, don't get caught up in the flash, right? I see it all the time. You get these people, they want to kick super crazy high. They want to have that super intense form, but the only problem is that maybe they're not flexible enough. Maybe they're not powerful enough. So instead of focusing on their strengths, they try to copy that person that is flexible enough or that person that is super muscled up and can have that big power, right? You have to play to your strengths, right? Don't get caught up in the flash of some people's form. I've seen plenty of people win because they have that nice, consistent, clean, lined, clean technique form. You don't always have to be super powerful. You don't always have to kick straight up in the air. That's just the way it is. I know it's super easy to get caught up in that, but you got to build that form from the ground up if that's what you want. You can't just decide that you want that kind of form one day and then start kicking high and end up sacrificing technique, or start getting powerful and then sacrifice the technique. Now, second thing for you guys is going to be, don't just think about the finished product of the move. Also, think about the preparation of the move. I know for me, we got this big wall of mirrors in our academy, right? So it's super easy. When I was coming up, I would look at my form at one straight angle, and I'd think, man, this form is awesome. I am ready to go. And then I get to the tournament, and I'd see a video of somebody that was maybe standing a little bit to the side, right? And I'd be like, whoa, okay, the line of that kick was a little bit wonky, right? But the end product looked good. And I was just so used to seeing that end product, thinking, well, this is awesome, that I was never really thinking about what things look like from different angles. And then I started to realize, if I got a judge that's watching me straight on, right, they're going to just most likely see the end product. And the line that they're on is maybe going to hide some of the imperfections of that kick or that preparation. But when you got that judge that's a little bit off to one side, that judge is a little bit off to the other side, they're going to see that. And that may cause them to vote for the other person. So my 2 things for you guys: don't get caught up in the flash, right? You do you. If you can kick super crazy high, kick super crazy high. If you cannot, which is perfectly okay, you have to play to your strengths. Don't try to copy somebody else's form just because it's flashy, right? Second thing is going to be not just focusing on the end product, also focusing on the preparation of the move. Don't just think about what it looks like at the end, what the move looks like at the end. Also think about the preparation and everything in between. So those are your 2 tips for form. All right, part 2 of our tips to win video. Part 1 was form. Now we're moving on to sparring. I got 2 more tips for you guys for your sparring, but I do have a helper today. This is Josiah. Josiah, wave at the camera. He says, hey. All right, so moving on to our tips for sparring. My first tip for you guys is going to be using the first 30 to 45 seconds of the round to read your partner, really kind of get their rhythm. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but for those of you that watch football or basketball or any other sport like that, maybe even MMA, boxing, things like that, it's very rare that you're going to see somebody score 30, 40, 50 points in the first quarter or get a knockout in round 1. It's just super rare because usually that time is still a feeling out process. And it's the same thing here in tournament sparring, right? So if we're in the first 30 to 45 seconds of our round, right, and I throw a slide side kick and he one blocks, it's like, okay, I have to compartmentalize that in my head now. Next time, I may go 1, 2, and then I throw that side kick with that hesitation. Or I may go 1, 2, and I hook kick, or a round kick over the top. It just depends. But that's what the whole 30 to 45 seconds, kind of that first period of sparring is. I want to find that rhythm. I want to find my rhythm in the round, and also want to try to find his rhythm in the round. Really get a read on how he reacts to me. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is going to be, don't get caught up in the flash. And I know that was the same tip that we had for our forms, right? Some people, they kick straight up in the air. That's cool. That's the way they do their form. Some people, super intense. That's the way they do their form. The thing for sparring is that everybody's going to spar a little bit differently. Just because somebody spars in a flashy way doesn't mean that you necessarily have to spar in a flashy way. I know for me, I'm not going to be throwing like 360s and spins and things like that when I spar. Now, Josiah is. So if me and him are sparring and he's throwing these spins, right? He's going spin, jump, really anything that he has in his bag. There's no reason that I, in a tournament sparring round, trying to go to 7 points and win, that I should have to sit here and throw spins right back at him, right? That's not the way I spar, right? So the whole goal and the whole point of that is everybody's going to have their own way of sparring. Everybody may be a little flashier than others, maybe a little bit more, I want to get inside and punch, or I want to stay on the outside and kick, or I want to try to counter you. There's no reason that you have to counterfight with a counterfighter. There's a reason that you have to punch with a puncher. There's a reason you got to kick with a kicker. So the whole point is play to your strengths. Don't get caught up in the flash of what somebody else is doing. So those are your 2 tips for your tournament sparring.